As we first arrive, let's just float the pelvis off the mat, give it a little bit of a forward pull with your feet, and then set it back down so we have a little bit more space for the lumbar. And then let's rest our hands right around the navel and relax into this position. Full breath in and big sigh of relief all the way to empty. Belly is falling in. Let's give it an extra squeeze, hollowing the navel down toward the spine. Lovely. Okay, let's go ahead and grab the ball and bring it behind the head, neck, really, head and neck. And let's feel how right away that helps the ribs to sink in a little bit deeper down. So we're even more connected in center. You can have the arms long by the sides. Let's float our legs one at a time up to tabletop. Bring them in pretty close at first so it feels relaxed. Now let's go in super slow motion, taking our tabletop position forward so slowly so we really feel the moment when our abs have to fire up to support the position. And then let's stop there. So we're just far enough forward that we feel some challenge, but we can still be in our neutral, connected in front position. We haven't broken open. So let's hold that. With your inhale, let's float the arms up to vertical. And then as you exhale, bring them not quite to the floor. So we feel like we're reaching forward as far as possible, just above the floor. And let's do that a couple more times. Inhaling up. Exhaling, long reach forward. Feel that swivel movement happening at the shoulder joint really cleanly, a little swivel. Now let's only go half as high, so maybe we call that 45 degrees, and then back down to that forward reach. Again, swiveling from the shoulder, nice. Now let's only do half of that, so just a little bit of a lift. Forward reach, and we really have that long forward stretch through the fingertips the whole time. Let's just keep making this smaller and smaller and quicker until it turns into the pump of the arms, inhaling for a few, exhaling, squeezing the belly, and try to keep your head super still on the ball so we know we're getting that good isolated shoulder movement. It's not bouncing us around. Yeah, and if that's working well, option to reach so far forward that we float the head and neck up off the ball, shoulder blades way up out of the mat. Maybe we make that movement a little brisker, but we're still trying to hold the head super still. Couple more rounds of breath, strong movement from the shoulders. Inhale, exhale, watch your navel hollow toward your spine. One more round of breath. And exhale, hollow, 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 and steady the arms, reach a little further forward, and slowly with control, come all the way down, ball out from under. Let's hug the knees wide and take a little rock from side to side. We're gonna come up and let's flip around to all fours and just get a little bit of cat-cow. And let's do the version where we try to feel like our limbs are pretty passive and it's really the spine moving itself. So as we inhale, let's release the belly toward gravity, chest coming through the arms, super long tailbone in that arch. And then the belly lifts itself up into the curve. See if you can just allow your head and your neck to hang rather than forcing anything. Back and forth with the breath. And then for a couple more of these, zero your attention in on the spot at the base of your rib cage, where your rib cage meets up with your lumbar spine. And just be especially aware of the movement coming from that very middle part of the back. And the next time we've rounded out, let's stay in that rounded shape. Let's see if we can inhale and puff upward into that rib to lumbar connecting point. Exhale and squeeze the belly up and in even higher and tighter. Be sure your neck and your head are still hanging easy. Couple more rounds of breath. Inhaling to puff way up, exhaling to hug hollow. And the next time you're inhaling, let's just lengthen to neutral and go ahead and have a seat with your legs out in front of you. Beautiful. Grab your ring or yoga strap, towel, what have you. Let's sit tall. One leg is gonna stay bent however much. Let's lengthen the other leg forward and get the ring around the arch of the foot. First of all, we're just experimenting. We're gonna reach out and grab with both hands. We're going to rock back toward the back of the sit bones. Yeah, just tipping. And do a small teeter-totter back and forth between your torso and your leg so that you really zero in on that place where you can feel the most relaxed balance. Upper body's just hanging, leg is dropping forward, totally being supported. Yeah, because we want to be in that position of easy balance to do our same cat stretch back to neutral. So exhale, pull through the middle, hollow, really curve through the rib to lumbar, mid back area, and then inhale, lengthen back out. Yeah, and just back and forth a couple times. Great, yeah. Next time you come into that curve, same thing. Let's stay here. Let's see if we can inhale into the back to feel even more open and curvier back there. Exhale, hollow the navel even deeper. And so then our goal is to just use the abdominals to maintain that nice deep curve so we can rock back and forth. Now this leg can bend, it can stay straight, whatever gives you that sense of an easy rock and roll back and forth over your C curve. And we just keep hollowing the navel, nice wide shoulder blades without getting too shruggy. The other leg can do whatever it needs to do. Now let's see if we can rock back and then bend the knee enough that you can release all the way flat to the mat. Then use the push of the leg to first recreate the curve, then roll through back up to that sitting position. Yeah, so we're in our deep C curve. See how many vertebrae we can lay down while keeping the curve. Remember that shape. Lay down flat and then come right back into that same curve. Same vertebrae are on the mat as the shoulder blades curl out of there and forward. Awesome. Now go ahead and set that all the way down. Set the ring aside real quick. Let's do our best to recreate that. This straight leg can bend and drag in. I know I find that helpful, but can we get to the same rock back in the curve? Let the arms come back as we open out of our curve. All right, here's the big challenge. Can we find the curve again? Feel free to grab your thighs if you need to feel like we're staying in the curve. Yeah, we don't pop into a flat back to try to force our way up out of there. And one more time, back and forth. Good, good, good. Long reach and forward. And again, once you create the curve, go ahead and just catch the legs, give yourself a boost. And then let's stretch the legs out. Soften the knees if needed so we can rock to the front of the sit bones with the length through the spine. And then go ahead and take your easy stretch over. Next inhale, rolling up tall. And let's check out the other side. Free leg bent however much. Start with your initial tip back, and with the spine staying pretty long, let's just do that easy rock back and forth. Yeah, the legs should feel so heavy, hanging in the loop there. Upper body hanging loose. Good. Okay, find that balance point. Hover there, and let's exhale, hollow C curve. Inhale, lengthen. Feel how the pelvis is rocking back and forth, tucking, and getting a little bit more toward the sit bones again. Yep. And then go ahead and stay in that curve. Now let's stay in the curve at first. So we're just going to roll back as far as we can, staying fully curved, and then drive through the leg to get back up to the sit bones. Yeah. So really what we're practicing here is, can we find that forward return still in the curve? That's where you might have an impulse to pop the ribs out of the curve. Okay, so on your next one, take it as far as you can, and then maybe the leg bends a little to let us lay the rest of the way down. Right back into that curve shape to then smoothly roll through and get up to the seat. Gorgeous. Couple more times. Really thorough exhale so we can collapse the belly, the solar plexus, backward into that curve. Yes, beautiful. Okay, this is our last one supported by the ring. And so when we come up, we will come all the way forward and set that aside. Right away, look for that same C curve shape, round, 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 rolling through, full opening. Again, recreate the curve, and don't be shy about using your arm to leg connection, to just give yourself that extra boost so the ribs don't panic and try to leap out of the front of the body. Let's get one more of those. And whenever you next arrive at the top, we will lengthen the legs out, find your tall posture one more time, and then follow that into your easy fold. Okay, next inhale, let's roll up, and then have your band with you as you lie on your back again. Let's go band around one arch. Push your leg forward low enough that you can definitely straighten the knee. And with your knee fully straightened, let's just kick this up until you feel a little bit of stretch behind the leg. Let's leave the foot and the ankle loose for now. So we're just looking for that opening behind the knee. While we've got the leg up here, go ahead and crawl your hands up the band so we're getting maximum tension in it. And now let's start to look for that forward bounce, trying to let go of the hip flexor. The other leg could stay bent or drop out long, your choice. And if once you're feeling the weight of the leg really releasing into that bounce, we can turn that into a little bit of a circle, oval. And the most important part of this movement is that the pelvis is staying completely still. Yeah, and from that stable piece, then we try to let go of everything at the hip and just release it around. One more in that direction. And then let's reverse that back the other way. Right, and that feeling of really dropping the leg and the elastic catches it and kind of rebounds it back up. And feel like a relief for the hip to get to let go for a second. When you get to the top, let's hold the stretch one more time. Let's add the toes peeling back, little bit of ankle flex, get a couple deep breaths as we reach through that heel. Okay, so now let's soften that knee for a sec, take the band away. And then here's the thing, we don't want to feel like we have to crank the hip flexor terribly. So we feel the sacrum still in its neutral anchor. Start to reach the foot up. See how straight the leg can get without it feeling too effortful. And remember that bottom leg can always come into a little bit of a bend. Arms are long by the sides. And let's try to recreate some amount of that circle where we're kind of letting go of control of the leg a little bit so it can drop and then catch, rebound, sweep back up. You might inhale to begin the circle and shoo, so your abs help with that catch and return. You could spin your leg into a little bit of a turnout. That can help with the hip flexor release. All right, let's go ahead and reverse that. Maybe start small again. Make sure you're keeping your balance. Yeah, so the whole spine perfectly stable, hip completely mobile. Big release around. Yeah, inhale to start. Exhale to sweep. 2 more times. Beautiful. Okay, last time when you come up, let's bend that knee to the shoulder. And then just for a moment, let's tip onto the other side away from this knee that we're holding. Tuck that knee in, and then let's come back and give this quad and hip flexor a little bit of a stretch. Look for your glute squeeze to really press into it here. A couple deep breaths. And then let's relax onto our backs. Locate your band again, and let's take it around the other foot. Starting with a little bit of stretch here. Find the super straight knee first. Feel your sacrum sitting, and keep those 2 things as we draw it in. And then crawling the hands higher up the band to increase the tension. Start to just look for that straightforward bounce. Other leg can stay bent or drop out straight. Looking for the arms to feel like they're really doing work to catch the leg, bounce it back up. And once you're feeling that, start to make it a circle. And we all have an easier side on this. There's a side that's going to feel so much easier to leave the pelvis still, and a side where It's a little bit of a struggle. The pelvis is just wanting to rock side to side. So let it be as small as it needs to be to find that separation. One more time around, then we'll reverse it. Other way. Practice the breath, inhaling as you begin the circle. Exhale to drop and catch. Super strong center as we swoop around. Good. Last two. And whenever you're back up at the top, let's get one more stretch. Once you know that the knee is totally straight, let's add a little ankle flex toe pull. Okay, we'll soften the knee, take the strap away. With the knee still bent, take a moment to confirm neutral pelvis and then start to reach up and see where we can get to, staying neutral, not feeling strain. Figure out what the other leg needs to do to support all that. All right, inhale, begin. Exhale, swoop around. Great. And whatever position the other leg is in, it can actively press into the ground. Notice if that feels helpful in terms of your stability. Two more this way. And really forceful exhale, strong belly as we swoop around. When you get to the top, let's go the other direction. All right, when we get to the top, fold that knee. Take a second to think easy hip flexor right before we squeeze in so we don't feel like we pinch anything there. Squeeze it like a sponge. And then we can roll toward our other side and bring that back for the quad stretch. And squeeze the glute, press that hip point forward. Okay, we are about to do our entire stomach series. So you have the option to have your trusty ball there, supporting your head and neck, and then, doing all the arm and the leg movement while thinking about holding things together in front. You might start that way and then let yourself float up into your curl at a certain point once you're feeling connected. So let's either have your head resting flat on the floor or go ahead and give yourself this support. And then let's bring the legs into the really close in tabletop for a moment, arms long by the sides. And same thing, let's slowly go forward just until you feel your abdominals kick in and that we're having to do some work to keep that rib to pelvis connection. And then we can bring the hands to the backs of the thighs, and if you're not on the ball, go ahead and curl your head and shoulder blades out of the ground. Now look at your thigh bones. This is as close as we want them to come to our faces. So we stretch out from there long, and then we switch, but there's kind of a break on how close the knee is going to come in. Yeah, so we stay out in that position of challenge. 8, 7, 6, 5, beautiful, 4, 3, 2, 1. Both knees in. Rest down if you're up. Go ahead and squeeze both knees out really wide to the sides of the rib cage. Maybe give them a little waggle side to side here. And then again into your easy tabletop position, arms long. Slow motion, travel forward until you feel things kick in. And if your head's on the floor, go ahead and catch the thighs and curl up. And then we'll all stretch both legs and also reach. And then again, only let them come back into where we just were. Exhale, reach. Can we inhale into the back to help us with our curve? Yes, and if this feels under control, the arms can come back toward the ears and sweep around. Let's get 3 more. Yeah, good job controlling that tabletop position. One more time. And rest down if you're up. Nice wide knee hug, maybe a little rock, gorgeous. Now let your knees move away enough that you feel your sacrum on the mat again, rather than just being on a flat lumbar. From there, let's hold on behind the thighs and reach up as straight as we can go without losing that pelvis position. Good. And if your head is on the floor, let's go ahead and curl up. And now we're gonna do our scissor, one leg reaching out long and low. And same thing, we're not trying to bring the close knee any closer than we just were in that vertical reach. And we're seeing how long we can reach that other leg out without changing the pelvis at all. Good. Last 4. Really thorough exhale as we work into each stretch. 2, 1, good. Both legs up to the top. Rest down if you're up. Breathe into those back ribs as we rest here. Okay, if you're using the ball, you can go ahead and take that away because we're gonna support our head with our hands on these last couple. So we'll go away to our neutral pelvis. We'll stay in neutral and find our vertical reach. Now use your hands on your thighs to get that initial curl up, get those shoulder blades way up out of the ground, and then try to stay up there as we catch head with hands. And we'll exhale and reach both legs away. Inhale back up to vertical. And a big leg movement is not the goal. However much leg movement's available with that perfectly neutral still pelvis is the important part. Good, couple more. Yes, one more time. And up and rest all the way down. Let's go ahead and rotate the head and neck from side to side. All right, very last one. We'll keep our knees bent. Start from your easy tabletop. Slowly forward till you find that position of challenge one more time. Keep your thighs there. Grab hold of them. Peel the shoulder blades all the way up. Stay up here. Catch your head with your hands. And now we have our bicycle twist here. And really turn your chest from side to side. Elbows stay in their open frame. And even though we're twisting toward that bending knee, we're still limiting how close we bring it. Just that perfectly square tabletop. You got it. Last 8 little exhales. 7, 6, 5, 4, 3, 2. Both knees bent. Come up in the middle. Shoulder blades up, 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 up. And relax. Come on up to sitting. And for the sitting position, the important part is that we really feel upright on the sits bones. So you could try feet about mat width. You could go wider. Legs could be long. Knees could be bent either upwardly or flopping open. So none of that really matters. Just find your upright pelvis. That's the important part. Let's use our hands to reinforce that idea of really pulling up. As we hollow, even the ribs get a little bit lifted as they hollow, and then the wave curls up and over and forward. It's like you have an exercise ball in front of you, so you can't actually lean forward. You can only hollow backward. And then just float the arms down to roll up tall, and again, scoop, lift, hollow, and just pull back as hard as you can as the fingertips and the crown are reaching forward, forward, forward. And relax out of there. We got one more. And scoop. This should feel like so much work. This should feel like as much work as anything else we've done so far. Hollow reach, and roll up tall. Fantastic. Hands come to sternum. And as we either inhale or exhale, it could work either way. We're gonna spin the sternum as far as we can one way, float tall to center, swivel the other way, and do one more each way so you really feel the rotation come from your chest, which means the whole rib cage is spiraling around. And then let's do our pointer fingers, so clasp and point. Squeeze your triceps really hard so we know the elbows are staying straight. And still think about turning from the chest. So the turning of the chest pushes the arms around, floating forward, and press around, and forward. And feel those grounding sit bones. Everything above them moves, but that's our stable base. Okay, last variation. Open your arms sort of to a T, but see how I've got them a little bit in front of myself so my shoulder blades stay wide. Now I want you to try to keep just as rigid of a frame with the arms as you just did with pointer fingers as we rotate side and center. So the arms are still just following the rib cage. They're not doing anything extra yet. Beautiful. So next time you go to that first side, we want to be sure we start with that chest only, then the arms follow through, and then pinky to little toe, we've got our big scoop up and over that we were just practicing as we reach out, and then just float all the way up to the center. Good. Chest first, turn, arms follow through, lift, scoop, hollow, reach. And open. Let's get one more each side. Each one of these should feel exhausting because you're working so deeply into the details. We could let it be easy, but we're creating way more length in the spine if we make this as deep and difficult as possible. And then let's open up. Let's let the arms rest. Now let's buckle the knees so we do rock forward on the sit bones finally, and then go ahead and just slide the arms out and find whatever easy stretch you want. We are allowed one breath with the belly relaxing and having a rest break, but then right away let's reactivate and feel how different it is to be here if we're really lifting up from underneath, moving the breath more into the back than into the front. Next inhale, let's roll up out of there and let's flip around onto our stomachs. Okay, take a moment to crawl the feet as far back as possible. Push the tailbone back really long. Let's try to lift the navel up out of the mat so we feel the pubic bone imprinted. And let's keep that, feet reaching and grounding, pubic bone grounding, tail reaching back. And then let's bring our arms back by our sides and let's tent way up on the fingertips. And if we're tented really high on the fingertips, we can roll the shoulders back. Feel the shoulder blades set on the back, a nice long neck. The ears are stretching way out of the shoulders. Okay, main focus is on keeping that pubic bone pressed into the ground as we float the fingertips and just reach as far back toward our heels as we can. Shoulder blades sliding down the back, maybe the chest lifts, but check back in with the pubic bone pressing, the tail lengthening back. Let's inhale, float down, let the fingertips rest. Exhale, reach, shoulder blades slide. Then we might lift the chest, but remember we have to get the shoulder blades down the back first if we're hoping to create a back bend through the rib cage. Good, yeah, and the feet are staying grounded. They're not sympathetically popping up off the floor as we lift the chest up. Beautiful. Okay, one more time. Coming up, let's hold. Can you slide your toenails any farther back along the floor? Can you push your tailbone back that same direction? Can the sternum reach forward the other direction any farther as the fingertips are reaching back? One more deep breath into the open chest and relax all the way down, gorgeous. Go ahead and catch your head with your hands and shake everything loose. Give the tail a little wag. Beautiful. Okay, let's slide ourselves back to child's pose. Really give yourself a push, sit bones toward the heels, and then from there just settle in and look for all the expansion of your breath into your entire back.